One of the main drivers of fear in today's marketplace is what looks like the massive takeover of artificial intelligence in all of our lives. Is this going to be good for society, or is it going to be bad for society? And as we're talking about it here, just like anything else in the market, opinions among society are quite divided about whether it's good or bad, will be good or bad. Not much different than when you want to talk about politics or religion. There is another opinion on the subject. My name is Don Creech.
And I'm Perry Sykes, and welcome to the Investor Resources Podcast.
When you're talking about investing, the one thing that we notice frequently is that the discussion of investing usually leads you to a conclusion that whomever you are speaking with is a citizen of Lake Wobegon, because they always have above average returns.
Right.
And they're not concerned about anything going wrong. And they don't really care about AI because I'm doing just fine. Thank you very much.
Right.
What we do know is AI is changing the game, literally, no matter what game you're playing.
Right.
And it may be as simple as cards, poker, for instance, or something much more challenging in my perspective, curling, which I don't understand
at all anyway. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And never spent enough time in Canada during the winter, I guess.
There you go. That's where it's big. That's true.
But Perry, you found this article on the differences that it's making in training for all sorts of different arenas.
It is. It's amazing, especially when you're just talking about games. But the professional poker's tour, if you're playing, they said AI has completely mastered Texas Hold'em as far as poker goes. And now, if you're going to become a professional poker player, chances are very good you're going to be training against an AI, not against a human being, because the AI is already far better than humans, even bluffing and even figuring out when someone else is bluffing. AI has a much better memory of everything that's gone on previously in that game, and the learning curve has been just torn up by playing with AI and training with AI and learning the game from them instead of some gnarled old poker player. You go to the bright, shiny, brand new AI, and that's where the real players are getting the best bang for their buck, getting up to speed in the game. So it's AI that's training the next level of poker players. And then you mentioned curling, Don. It's amazing that in a game so different, and now we're talking about tossing rocks down a sheet of ice, and sure enough, the AI programs and the algorithms they use have been watching curling games, curlers, individuals, to learn how they play, and they're already far better at calling a game than Olympic level curling captains calling the same game. If you want to know what the best next shot is, check with AI. And so guess who they're all training with? They're all training with AI now. Like they said, they were beating Olympic level players in 2016 because they had large language learning models then focused strictly on how to curl, how to win at curling. And their algorithms got better than the humans almost right away. They've been better since 2016. So that's the standard against which you're playing now. That's where you're learning, especially strategy. But it's not just, in the can strategy. They're talking about, they get AI that watches the game that's in progress, and it reads how the stones are sliding on the ice you're playing on today. And then we'll call, well, what's the next best shot? So that's the kind of advantage, you can't get when it's just a matter of someone's opinion. AI distills that down to no. Odds are, here's the next best shot. This is what you should do, and they're already better at it than the people.
And we're shocked about this, but if we just take time to think about it, it's been a couple of decades since Big Blue became the chess champion of the world.
Yeah.
When they beat the world's chess champion several times, and there was no longer a debate whether or not computers can do this. So we've actually had a couple of decades of programming practice and development to reach this stage. And now we're just simply reaching a point of fine tuning. It's coming into healthcare here in the United States much more dominantly, but it's been present in Japan for a long time because of their demographic collapse. They have so many seniors and not enough young Gen Z people to work in hospitals and healthcare facilities. They have had to use robots in order to care for an elderly population for decades now. So we've had learning outside the country that here in the United States we say, oh, really? That's all brand new? Well, no, it's not brand new. It depends on where you look.
Sure.
And that has a lot of implication for investing because AI is taking over in so many areas. So one of the things we see going on in the healthcare stocks today is that biotechnology stocks are finally getting, after years of not doing well, finally getting their comeuppance. They are actually attracting capital to do things that many of us never dreamed were going to be possible. But the manual dexterity of the new humanoid robots is far greater than what we individually, even a well-trained surgeon, is capable of doing today. Now, those are still really expensive surgeries, but as more and more of them come online and the costs come down, healthcare itself is going to get less expensive.
And that's a huge shift. I mean, like you said, Don, for decades now, Japan has been using robots. And a lot of times it was just as simple as we have to replace an orderly because we don't have anybody to take this medication from the pharmacy to the third floor to the room where it needs to be where the patient is. Well, they had a little robot that ran it up there. Not a big deal, not particularly complicated. The route is set. Everyone else is watching out for them. That is not the baseline anymore now. And then they moved on to robots that could transport patients from room to room because again, they just simply didn't have enough people to go do it. So now they had robots moving other patients around. Great. That wasn't a problem either. But what you just said, Don, the new robots, the manual dexterity is off the charts. It's better than any human surgeon. Still need somebody in charge there to know what's going on. And the dexterity that's already old. There's already what's the remote surgical machine, the Da Vinci machine, I believe, which will allow a surgeon in the United States to operate physically on someone who's in Japan because the machine's in the room with them. Well, now they're going to have the robots that have so much dexterity and so much knowledge built in. You don't need somebody else running it. They can do it autonomously, and that's coming very, very quickly. And the rate at which they're getting better is increasing greatly. Like you said, when Deep Blue, beat the world chess champion, finally, IBM put that together. It took IBM 10 years to beat Garry Kasparov finally, and beat a sitting chess grandmaster. And after that, Google took a large language model and didn't teach it to play chess, just taught it the rules of chess. And it could beat a grandmaster in a day. It only took it a day. The first run took 10 years. The second run took 24 hours, and it was ready for the grandmaster. That's how much faster the learning curve is, and that's where we are today. So when you're looking at the medical field, and you find out that today, right now, almost every practicing doctor uses AI as a backup. It'll run the same symptoms through it and say, did I miss anything? Do we think this is what it is? What's the likelihood I'm correct here? What else could this be? That's a daily use today of just the knowledge base. And now the robotics are catching up, and here it comes. And that's going to be a rather significant societal shift to have, when the person telling you to open your mouth and say is not a person. That's a whole new level of trust as a machine is sticking that tongue depressor in your mouth. So it's going to take a little bit to get used to it, but the change is coming quickly.
Well, there's a lot more development. There are medical beds that actually treat patients with frequency and light.
Hmm,
As we've learned which part of the body responds to different wave frequencies, whether it's sound or light.
sure.
And they've been apparently using these in Japan, and they are due to be here in the United States before long. We think of uh, driverless cars, full service
Sure.
driving,
Yep.
FSDs, and that's one of the problems for our auto industry, is because this is changing the industry so radically that the standard automobile is going to be phased out as new car buyers opt for battery life that's extended, that allows for, I've, I've, I believe I've seen as much as 600 miles on a single battery charge,
Okay.
and being able to charge a battery in under 15 minutes. But those are huge changes, which are very close to becoming commercially available. We just simply do not understand how that's going to impact such things as home delivery of product. Are you buying stuff online? Well, Amazon and Walmart, the two major providers of online purchasing, are using robots in their warehousing. We now know drones are increasingly being used for delivery. What else can you imagine is going to be done in some other part of business operations?
Sure.
When lawyers, or anybody who sits in front of a computer every day for the job, their job's
Yep.
at risk.
Yep.
That includes you and me, Perry.
It does.
We already know that.
We know that. Yep.
Yeah, accountants, lawyers, office administrators. There's just a whole ton of things. So one of the things we're going to see happen here is that retirement funding is going to be handled differently, and retirement, while our lifespans may expand, which we would expect with better health care,
Yeah.
that our working lifespan is going to be changed probably on the shorter side because of an increase in productivity. We can generate more income and save more money, unless, as a good American, when you get more money, you want to spend it just to keep the economy going.
That could
That's a
happen. Yeah.
downside risk to this assumption. Yeah,
That could happen.
who doesn't raise their standard of living when their income goes up?
Right.
That's a rare person. But these changes are generating massive future profit potential within equity investments, whether that's real estate, different than what we've seen in the past, but that industry changes also. It just changes more slowly than the stock market does. Sector rotation within the stock market, sector rotation within real estate. Both of those have expanded opportunity that most of us have yet to realize. That's why it's important to pay attention to what's actually going on right now in front of you, and
You bet.
adapting your portfolio to today's economic world, and give up the hindsight bias that keeps us anchored in the past, making bad assumptions about what the past means for the future. And that's an underlying fundamental problem with financial advice today. It is anchored in the past. Past returns are supposed to represent the future when it comes to your planning, but it always comes with a disclaimer that says the past does not mean anything regarding the future. These past returns are not a forecast of the future. The future is in your hands to make a decision with what is actually going on, which means you need to monitor it. If you don't, somebody else does. I've had clients call and say, the reason I hire you is I don't want to pay attention to stuff. I got other things to
Right.
do with my life and my time.
Right. Yep.
Somebody needs to pay attention, so that as industries rotate into leadership and fall out of favor, your portfolio stays current with what's actually happening in the economy and the market.
It's going to be a lot of change. Yeah.
You want to talk to us about that? You give us a call, subscribe to our podcast, go to our website, and log in. We'll be glad to have a chat with you about what we're doing and give you a free review of what your portfolio is and how the two compare, and what we would see as the potential on both sides of that equation. This is the beginning of a new year. We hope your year is happy. Stay tuned to realistic resolutions for the new year. We'll be back with more to say. Stay tuned. Subscribe to the podcast. Have a great day.